our title is Can Geoparks and Geotourism Contribute to Nature Conservation in the North Atlantic region? This is a big question that we have worked with for quite some time. Let me see if I can. There we are. We are looking at planet Earth. Planet Earth has a fantastic amount of incredible places all over the Earth, actually. Here's a view where it's seen from the moon, and we can really see our blue marble, how beautiful it is. Looking a bit closer, zooming in to the region of the Faroe Islands where I work and live, we will zoom a bit in and go to one of these fantastic places. It's a cave. I think you can see my mouse hovering over this place. It's a beautiful place in Suðuroy, the southernmost island. Stelios has been there. Maybe you remember where we were walking close to this site. And when you go out there, you have to walk to along the coast a little bit from where you park, and you have to climb up a bit, and then you have to go under some little waterfall, and after the waterfall you have to climb down a little narrow hole through some big rocks, and then when you come out of the hole on the other side, you enter this incredible cave. It is fantastic, and you stand in this environment, completely mesmerized, looking out at the waves. Sometimes, at least in bad weather, looks a bit dangerous actually, being inside the cave. And you think, how you can't get better than this. But my point today is that you have this fantastic trip into a place like this one. It's called Holy Hello. It's a bit double. It's called the cave in the grotto or something like that. Holy Hello in Suðuroy. And when you go there and you have this completely fantastic trip into this strange place, you actually miss out on most of the story, because it's not there unless you have a geologist or something like that with you. And what a shame, really, that you can go to these fantastic places and not get the stories that are, give this place so much more, and you could really understand it and be much better to look after it and conserve it, probably, if you just knew what it was all about. So what is really going on? Let's look a little bit about this. What are they doing in other places around planet Earth when there are fantastic places, beautiful nature, but the stories about this nature are how can you get these stories out to visitors so that they can really enjoy them? One of the ways to do this is with the program called UNESCO World Heritage and World Heritage Sites. There are a number of places around the whole world where they have described places for cultural fantastic stories or natural stories or mixed sites. It's called cultural sites, natural sites, and mixed sites. And you see them with these colors all over the world. And we will go to one of the places that the yellow arrow is pointing towards, to Ireland. Let's go and have a little look at that. Oops, here. It's called the Giant's Causeway. I'm sorry, the letters here don't give us all of it. It's called the Giant's Causeway. It's a fantastic place. People in all times have enjoyed it. And they have had stories with this place having a legend saying that there was a giant and he built a causeway. A causeway is like a bridge, land, standing on ground, connecting two land places. So it's a road bridge, if you like. It's a bridge standing on the ground. So this is a causeway in Northern Ireland, the Giant's Causeway, and it's a natural World Heritage site. And this legend was interesting. People loved to come and see it. But a few years ago, it became part of the UNESCO World Heritage program. And they have really gone into the whole process of describing it and presenting it really, really well to tourists. So now they have an astounding number of visitors here. I think now topping more than 1 million visitors a year to this site. It is beautiful. And what is so incredible with it is that it is telling a bit of the story about how the North Atlantic Ocean came, how the two Earth plates, the North American plate and the Eurasian plate, split apart, and the volcanic magma came out of the rift zone, and in some places, other places, and that's a big part of the story, a site like this was created. And it's a magnificent story belonging really to where it stands, close to the ocean. and we can see how people really enjoy visiting these places and really enjoy it more, I would say, now that they get so fantastic information from it. So one way these sites, now this is a natural heritage site, can give these stories out to the public is by getting a better description to people, presenting it better, and much more people will have a chance to enjoy it. So, a little question for you. Could you guess? You wouldn't know it, but let's guess. How many World Heritage sites do you guess there are in the world? There are 1,073 World Heritage sites around the world. And these are, a true gem for us all, because the research and the information about these sites have become publicly available on the site as well as on the internet. And it's really, really interesting. So my next question is, how many of these are natural heritage sites? Just a few seconds. Just guess how many of these 1,073 are natural heritage sites. Actually, it's only 206. 206, would you say, diamond places that are described and are included as World Heritage Sites. So they are World Natural Heritage Sites. So there are not many of them compared to, you know, a lot of cultural sites, but they are magnificent, fantastic places. The next program, also that by now also belongs to UNESCO, is a program called Geoparks, or UNESCO Global Geoparks. And we're just going to look at one of them. These are, this is a program not as old. The other one, Natural Heritage, the World Heritage Sites are a bit older. They are, can't remember when they started, in the 80s or something like that. The Geoparks, Global Geoparks program started, I think, in about the year 2000. And they are, most of them are by now in Europe and in Asia. And we're going to look at the one where the arrow points to, which is in Shetland Islands. It's called the Shetland Geopark. It takes the whole Shetland Islands, so it would be a bit similar that if we would maybe do a geopark or create a geopark for the Faroe Islands, it would probably be something like this one, Shetland Geopark. Shetland Geopark, have a fantastic geological heritage that they are able to share with the public this way, because Shetland Geopark is have the chance to tell a story not only about the Atlantic Ocean. They have actually another world ocean to talk about. They have an ocean that existed before the Atlantic Ocean, and the story about these plates that went together, earth plates that collided, and the ocean that was disappeared, and you actually got some mountain folding and Himalaya mountains or something like that, Caledonian mountains. Characterized that whole region, and that now have been worn down. So you see the roots of the geology that happens in a region where an ocean died. And that's some of the geological heritage that the Shetland Geopark is able to tell us. It's a very, very interesting and exciting story to hear about. Oops, I'm sorry. I was a bit too quick. So there are many sites belonging to the Shetland Geopark all over the Shetland Islands, where people can go around and enjoy the signs and the presentation places that tell people about what happened in this place and how many hundreds of millions of years ago did this happen. So it's quite a long geological story that can be told here in the Shetland Islands. So my next question for you is, how many UNESCO global geoparks would you guess there would be in the world, if you just give a rough number? The number is there are 140 places around the world that have the sign UNESCO Global Geopark. So they are part of the program, UNESCO program. There are probably more geoparks than that, but these are the geoparks that have that are part of the program, the UNESCO program. 140. Another UNESCO Global Geopark is the Magma Geopark in southern Norway that this arrow is pointing towards. The Magma Geopark is also one of the geoparks that has a very exciting geodiversity to present to the public. Many of the landscapes and the geology of southern Norway are fantastic to visit, to look at, and the story about the evolvement of or how Norway evolved is part of the story also that we met in Scotland and Shetland. So it's also part of the story about the disappearance or the collision of two earth plates, how they collided and an ocean between them disappeared. As we see in other places today, like the Mediterranean Ocean is in this situation today. It's slowly disappearing as two plates are moving together. So Norway, the Magma Geopark in Norway, can present some of the fantastic stories that belong to this very long geological history and the evolution of the landscape on this place. And the geodiversity in that whole region is really, really very interesting, and there's a lot to tell to the public, the visiting public, with the places that present special sites, and with signs and with paths that you can take. The last place I would like just to present to you is the third geopark, the third geopark this morning, and it's the arrow is pointing to Iceland, and it's called the Katla Geopark. The Katla Geopark is quite large. It's in southern Iceland, and it has it all. It has volcanoes, it has glaciers, it has an ice cap, actually 2 or 3 ice caps, and it has all the landscapes in between. The Katla Geopark is, if you look at the geo-heritage, if you like, that you can see in a place like Katla Geopark, you get the stories that belong to a place that is completely new. Some of these places, they were made by volcanic eruptions, less than 100 years ago. This is new country, completely new country, and it's being made as 2 earth plates are moving apart, and Iceland actually is getting larger and larger as it's moving apart. And you have the active volcanism, you have the ice, the active glaciers and the ice caps, really a lot of geo-heritage, and then a lot of opportunities, because this is all organized in the UNESCO Geopark. They have built up the places for presenting the Gatla Geopark for all of us that come and visit. So when you are part of these programs, I would say that you are in a much better position for conservation, for raising awareness about these places, the stories about the places, what's going on, what are we seeing when we visit a place like this. And in all these places, we see people finding ways how to take care of the country, how to take care of the areas and the sites, often even on a voluntary basis. This is a picture probably only a few days old, where a lot of young people have been cleaning up, probably around the coast, plastic and rubbish that is lying around, being washed up on the shore. And activities like these are very important when you consider geo-conservation or natural conservation in general. This is a place that Stelios, that you visited last year when you were in the Faroe Islands. This is the path to Bøstalafossur in the Faroe Islands. It's close to the airport. And we can see that the number of visitors is now getting so high that the natural landscapes are worn down. We can see the mud on the ground and the footprints all over. So there's a great need for conservation, for taking care of this natural heritage, this geo-heritage. And in the same site, actually closer to the site that we were going to visit, we saw how waves have brought in plastic and rubbish and things that are floating in the ocean below, all kinds of trash that's washed ashore, and we need to be aware of how to manage and how to take care of our geodiversity, our geo-heritage. So my conclusion this morning is that the geoparks is a good idea. They make us aware about geodiversity, about geo-heritage, and give us better tools and better awareness for geoconservation. So that's my conclusion this morning. Thank you for listening.